Hello, and thank you for joining us here at the North Miami Beach Library. Today I'll be showing you how to get this beautiful fairy look. Stay tuned. Okay, so I've already done my foundation, got my base done. So for the eyebrows, we're going to do a fairy look. So for the eyebrows, I'm going to be using a Clown White. This is by Benye, Benye. And I ordered this online. It's Clown White makeup. And what we're going to do is we're going to put this on the eyebrows because we're going to be using a color on the brow. Now some people, and I guess it depends, will use a paint stick, a glue stick to put the hairs on the brows down, to glue them down. For this look, it's not really going to be necessary because we're not using a light color. The colors we're going to be using will be a little bit darker, so the color in the hair probably shouldn't show up as much. But we are going to put the white on to make the hairs lay down a bit and also let the color pop out a bit more. So in this, I'm just following my natural brow line, and then I'm filling it in with the white as well. So here, like I said, you can still kind of see the black of my natural hairs, but because I'm using a darker color for the brow, that's not really a deal breaker here. It's gonna put a little bit more. Normally, like I said, depending on the look, if you were going for a pink or a color like that, I would definitely recommend getting a glue stick and gluing down your brows so that the hairs won't stick out as much. And then you go over this with a beauty blender and blend it out with the white as much as you can until you get the desired look. The goal is to try and hide the black hairs so that if you're using a lighter color, you actually can hide those colors and only the pink color would show, or the lighter color would show in your brow. So then we're going to come back on this side, following our natural brow. And then we're going to fill that in. Yeah. And I'm using an angled brush. I'm not sure if you can see that. The light's a little bit bright. But yeah, there you go. So I'm using an angled brush, which actually helps me to follow my brow a little bit easier. I'm just really brushing that in. I'm gonna stop about here. Look like an old lady now. So after that, we're going to go in with a eyeshadow brush, which I'm just going to use this one. And this one came in a set actually, so most of my brushes come in sets. But here's another brush you can use. There you go. Elf has a brush like this. Morphe has a brush like this. I mean, you can look up pretty much on Amazon or any of those makeup sites and stuff and actually find a eyeshadow brush. I'm going to use a small detailed one with a tip, because I need to be able to do detail and I don't want the eyeshadow to go everywhere. So first things first, for our colors and our eyeshadows, I'm going to be using the Magic palette by Juvia's Place. I ordered this palette off their website, and they actually have a pretty good sale on right now. But so I'm going to be going in with, I think I want to add a little bit of blue in this. So I'm going to use this first. The first color is going to be this blue here, and I'm going to put that at the tip of the brow. So you see, and I'm just tapping that in pretty lightly So at the end of the brow, we're going to be using that blue color, and we're going to marry that in with another color. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the end of the other brow. Don't worry if it's not as neat as you want it to be just yet. We can go back and clean that up. I'm actually going to also, because I want it kind of dark, I'm adding this purplish color here. It's Iffy, not sure how to say it. But anyways, I'm going to add that color and with to make the blue a little bit darker. So you see we have our blue. Let's make this a little bit darker here. Looking crazy enough yet? Okay, so then we are going to go in with our green color, and for that we are going to, I'm going to use this Hadassah Beauty Cosmetics palette, and I'm going to be using this green here. And that's the color Peace. And I'm just gonna dab that color in. And this is kind of why I was not really worried about whether my hairs show up dark, because I'm using darker colors. Like I said, if we were using lighter colors, we'd definitely have to get those brows as light as possible to get the hairs as light. And I'm going to show you how to go back in and clean that up as well. So don't worry if you get eyeshadow under the brow. And if you don't have the white, you could use another eyeshadow base, but make sure it's a lighter color. Even if it's beige, which would work fine, but definitely not a clear or a darker color. It definitely needs to be a lighter color to make the colors pop. Okay, so I am going to, and so our next and final color for this is going to be, again, using the Magic palette by Juvia's. I'm going to go in with the Buzo color, which is a lighter green. It's actually a foil color. By foil, I mean it's shiny. The other two colors I'm using are a matte color. And you kind of want to tap the color into the next color, the color before it, because you want to blend that in. You want your colors to just kind of transition. You don't really want them to like green and blue or purple. You definitely want it to be more of a transition look. And I'm just using these colors. You can definitely use whatever colors you want. I definitely recommend using colors that will actually fade into each other. So if you were going to do a yellow or orange, I would recommend doing the darker color on the end and fading out into the light. And choose colors that actually blend into each other to make other colors. That way it'll be a little bit easier for the transition. Okay, so now we are going to clean this up a bit. So I'm using this rounded out brush. Some people like to use the flat edge brush. Let's see if I have one. Looks something similar to this. It's a flat edge brush. But I'm okay with the rounded brush, so I'm going to be using that. And so what I'm going to do is take a concealer, which I'm using the Ruby Kisses 3D Face Creator. You can get this at your local beauty supply store. And I'm just going to dab into that. And you actually want to keep the concealer kind of close to the tip of the brush so that you can have as much, because you're not really using the body of the brush, you're using the tip to clean up. And then we're just going to kind of clean this up a bit. And we're going to just sharpen that line up a little. And I'm going to pull this out a bit. I like to use this concealer also as a base for my foundation. I'm sorry, for my eyeshadows. So I like to drag it down. So for my transition colors, which we'll get into in a minute, we'll have something to stick to. I actually want a lighter. I like a highlight under my brow, so I'm actually going to use a lighter concealer to kind of give that highlight look. The darker color is already there. Okay, so now I'm going to clean up over the brow. Still using the edge of the brush, not really the body, just to kind of get a straight line across the brow. And keep in mind when you're doing your brows, you definitely don't want to go past here. So as you see that color kind of dragged out a little bit, we're just going to clean that up with the concealer and taper it off. Okay. So this is what our brow looks like a little bit closer. And I'm actually going to go in the front and kind of blend that out just a little bit. And for those who are really into makeup, I'm probably sure you know this process already, just with the brown color instead of using these colors. But this is the basic process in doing your eyebrows anyways. So then we're going to go on this side, and I am going to just cut right into that color and clean this up. Trying to keep my brows even at least. And if you're having trouble getting that color to just clean off, just use a wipe and just clean it off if you can't get the concealer to take it away. And I'm gonna again drag that down, the concealer, we're gonna drag that down, kind of blend it out just to make sure that we're getting our first layer for the base of our eyeshadow. And notice I did not go all the way on my eyelid just yet, only because I don't want so many layers on my lids that the eyeshadows start to crease. And I'll talk to you more about that in just a moment. Okay, so now we got our brows done. And I am actually going to be a little bit extra. I have this glitter here. It's a very fine glitter. Not sure if you can see the color. There we go. and it kind of matches the colors that I have on the that I use from the makeup palette. So I'm going to just add a little bit of glitter, and what I'm going to use is a glitter primer, and this is from Ulta. This is Ulta Beauty Glitter Primer for eyes and face. So what this does is it helps the glitter to stick. And so I'm just going to put a little dab on the back of my finger. I'm going to use that same brush we just used for the concealer. And I'm going to just tap a little bit through my brow. Go ahead and do both sides. You kind of have to move a little bit fast with this. So you don't want it to dry before you get the glitter on. I'm just dabbing into the glitter with the same brush because it does have that glue on it, so it's easier to pick it up. And I'm going to tap into the brow. And I'm just putting this on the green portion of it. I hope you guys are actually getting this. I really would love to see your looks and see how this comes out. So I'm gonna darken the light just a little bit so you can kind of see. I'm not sure if you can see it, it's still kind of light, but there's glitter. Oops, let's turn that back down a little. Okay, so we have our glitter. I'm going to move that about. Now I am actually going to use another brush because I just put glitter in the other one, and I'm gonna brush away any loose glitter that may have fallen because I don't want my eyeshadow to be lumpy. Okay, and here my light, this looks a little white over here, but it is green, I promise you. So now we're going to get into our eyeshadow. So the brows are done, we're going to get into our eyeshadows. So what I normally will do is I'm going to use a base color, an eyeshadow base. I'm using the Mitchell by P. Louise Acid Rain collection. This one is in the color Blank Canvas. If you don't have something like this and you have the Clown White, you can also use this because we need a lighter color to pop out the eyeshadow color. And also what the eyeshadow base does is it helps the eyeshadow to stick to the eye and it lasts longer. So I'm going to put this on the back of my hand. Probably don't need as much. Just using a dab here, and I'm going to use my finger, not a brush, and I'm just going to pat that out on my eye. Notice I'm not going all the way up to the brow line because remember we used our concealer for that. And that part's not going to be as light as the eyes. So we're just going to tap this and kind of use the arch in your eye here to use that as your guide as to where you're going to be applying this. So today for this look, we're going to be doing what they call a halo eyeshadow look, which means the inside of the eye is going to be dark, the outside is going to be dark, and then the inside of it is going to be a lighter color. Need a makeup wipe. so I kind of want to wipe this off my finger. So when I mentioned creasing earlier, because I have hooded lids, which you see that line going in between, that's considered a hooded lid. And what happens is the concealer will crease in there, and once that creases, it also shows up in your eyeshadow. So you always want to make sure that you don't have any creases and that your base is as smooth as it can be. So now we're going to go in with our transition color. For transition colors, I always try to use maybe neutral colors. You can funk this look up as much as you want and use colors. I'm actually going to try and keep that part of it nude or using a neutral color. So the first color I'm going to go in with is like an orange color. And this is just the transition color, a color that we would use to just make your eyeshadows kind of have that gradient effect where we're blending out and kind of keeping the colors concentrated on the eyelid itself. So I'm going to use this orange color. And again, I'm sorry, I'm using the Hadassah Beauty Cosmetic palette. You can also get this from hadassahbeautycosmetics.com. Or you can find any palette that has a color similar. I do believe the Magic palette has a color very similar to that. It does. It's a color similar to this that I'm using. I'm going to use the Magic palette and go into this color on top of that color. And I'm going to stop just short of under my brow because I do want that highlight there. And under that, I'm going to go in with the Kissy color. Right in over that. And I'm going to blend that out. So now we have our highlight under our brow, and then we have the color coming down into it. And I'm just going to go ahead and do the same thing. And actually, I'm just going to use this color to keep with the same palette. I'm going to go in with this color, then I'll use this color, and then I'll go up to here. So we're starting with the Zakia color first. And we're just going to go blending in that line from the eyeshadow base that we have on. We're just going to blend right into that line. Now you do want to blend this out because you don't want that harsh line when you go to apply your eyeshadow. You don't want that harsh line, so you do want to make sure that that's getting blended out. And notice how much lighter that color looks on top of there. So the eyeshadow base does make the color pop out a lot more. And so we're going to go in with our next color and blend right on top of that darker orange. Again, stopping just short of the brow line because we want to have our highlight color. And notice I'm just going to tap that. I want to keep it as close to the brow as possible. So I'm tapping that in and then blending it out. I'm going to go back in a little bit because I want this darker. Okay, so now this is just our transition colors. These are not the colors that we're using on our eyeshadows. We're going to get into those colors now. And so I am actually going to switch brushes because I like a smaller brush to get into that creasing area here without disturbing these colors. So I'm going to go in with my first color. It's going to be the Ivy color. This is a darker purple, but I'm also going to be blending in some blue with that. And I am going to take this color all the way into the crease of my eyelid. Now you want to keep this part, the middle part, you want to keep that as clean as possible at this point. And I'll show you, you'll see why in a moment. So I'm just tapping in and going over with that purple just to kind of keep it, to get that really, really deep look. I'm now using the blue to blend in with that purple. Because I want this part dark. And now I'm going to go back in with the same brush that I did the transition colors with. Not adding any more color. I'm just using that to blend this color out on the top. You don't want that harsh line. You just kind of want it to, you want the blue to show or the purple to show, but you don't want such a harsh line right there. So I'm actually going to go back in now with the Zakia color, and I'm going to use that to blend out that line. So you want to keep that gradient look. Okay. Okay, so you don't want to disturb this color and the inside and the outside of the eyelid. You don't want to disturb that because we need that depth of color. Okay, so now we have our highlight, we have our transition color, we've blended out this line, and now we have our color set here. So now I am going to be using the green from the Hadassah palette. We're going to go back into this color, and I'm just going to add a little bit of that into the purple. Again, we are going to keep the middle clean right now, so we're not going to add any eyeshadow onto that. So we're just dealing with the inside and the outside right now. And now I'm going to take the brush that we used for our concealer, and I'm going to add a little bit more of the eyeshadow base that we used. And I'm going to be carving out a lighter eyeshadow here, just a line here. And we're going to fill that in. Now we're going to bring just a little bit more of that color right onto that line here. You don't want that line to show so prominently, so you want to just add that color there. So now we are going to go in with our small brush again, and I'm going to use a yellow color. This is called glitter yellow. You can use a yellow from a palette if you have. This is a sample, so I don't know where you can actually get this particular color from, but any yellow should do. And we're just going to fill in the area where we had no eyeshadow. And you want to just try and keep it in a triangular color, in a triangular shape here. Mine is a little wide, so I am going to go back in with that green and kind of close it up a little bit more. And now I'm going to be using this is a bling eyeliner. I got this from the beauty supply store. This is by Ruby Kisses, and it doesn't have a name on it, but this is a gold one. They come in a few different colors. I do have the gold and the silver. This is the gold one, and I'm going to use this as my eyeliner. Now if you wanted to use a loose glitter, I definitely would suggest using the glue, the eyelash glue, versus the glitter primer, because that won't last long enough and it won't get sticky enough to hold as an eyeliner. And you don't ever want to get glitter in your eye. Very, very dangerous. So make sure that you're not using glitters over your eye that can actually get into your eye. If you are, definitely use caution on that. So we have, I'll show you a little bit better in a minute. So now we're going to go over to the next eye, and we're going to repeat this process. So again, we're going in with our magic palette, and I'm going to start with the purple again. And you see where I meant with the creasing? My concealer my eyeshadow base has started to crease. So I'm going to take my finger and I'm going to blend that back out, because it will show up in my eyeshadow if I don't. So we're going to go here, starting here, and we are going to work our way around the eye. Going up. Don't worry, we can always fix this. Okay, so we're going in with the purple, and we are going to go back over it with our blue. Now, if you want this to be darker, you can always use a black instead of the blue. Be careful with the black. It's really hard to blend out when you're using dark and light colors, and you definitely don't want to have that try to blend that out. and then you'll have a mess on your hands. I promise you will. So now we're going to go back in with our lighter color and blend out the line here. I feel like I'm adding more on this eye. So we can always go back and even this out if one side is a bit more than the other. So I am going to do that just to kind of even things out a little. So here we go. And so now we are going to, oh yeah, our green. So we're going to go in with our green now from the Hadassah palette. And we're going to start to shape out our triangle. And going back in with our concealer brush, we're going to make our triangle. Need a little bit more product here. Darker colors can be a little bit trickier as far as blending and getting them to cooperate with you. This does take practice, I promise. It's not that hard. It does take practice though. Okay, and so now we're going to go back in and I'm going to get this a little bit thinner on the triangle side of things. Going back in with my green to kind of close this off a little bit more. And if you can see that triangle look, that triangle coming. Okay, and so then we're going to go back in with, oh, I used the glitter yellow again. Now, if you're using a foil color, which is the shinier colors, not the matte colors, and it's not sticking as well as you'd like it to, you can tap some glitter glue on first, and that'll get it to hold a lot better. And in most cases, it'll make it show up a little bit better too. I'm gonna go back in with the green a little, clean that up. And so then I'm going to go in again with the glitter liner. I'm using the gold because it pops out a lot better on the darker colors. If you don't have this, you can use your regular your regular black liner, or you could use white if you have it. So now we have our eyes lined, our eyebrows done. I'm just gonna go in with my beauty blender and clean up under my eyes. because I do already have on concealer here. Right now I look like I have two black eyes. So I'm going to kind of clean up anything that's a little bit that has fallen from the eyeshadows. Just gonna kind of go back under and clean that up. Okay, so next we got to bring some fairy here. So I am going to be using the white clown makeup, and you don't need a dotter necessarily. You can use the back of one of your eyebrow, one of your makeup brushes. You want to dip it into the white, and you can use, if you have the diamonds or whatever, pearls, you can use those as well. Just using the back to create circles here. And we have our dots. Remember to make sure that these are even. I don't even remember how many I put over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so make sure if you do 9 on one side, make sure you do 9 on the other side. This is easier with a dotter, I will say. But if you don't have it, just do your best. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, perfect. We're even. So now let's do some fairy art detailing, and I am going to be using this is a lip brush because it is thinner, or if I wanted to, maybe we should do that. That would be neat. We could use that same eyeliner actually. The same glitter eyeliner. Could use that and just kind of make some circles or some kind of facial design here. Remember, this is your fairy look, so make it as fabulous as you like. I'm just going to make some dots here. And you can do this on both sides, or you can do it on one side if you'd rather keep it simple. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to use I'm going to use the white again to put under my eye first. I'm going to line my eye with the white. This way my colors under my eye will pop as well. And you can leave this white and go under the white and use your colors. I don't know. I want to go, I mean, we have green, blue, and purple on top. So I guess we'll stick with those kind of colors. So we'll go in with the blue. Let's see. So for under the eyes, our first color, we're going to go back in with the middle color, which we're going to start with the lighter color. which I used the yellow there. And I do recommend using a smaller tip brush here. And then we're gonna go in with the, I guess we should use the green, which I'm going to use this Buzo color here. It's like a foil green. And this, again, using the Magic palette. Try not to poke myself in the eye. Please be careful when doing this. It's definitely, you're right up under your waterline. You don't want to get this eyeshadow in your eye. So that's why I definitely recommend using a smaller tip brush. See how flat it is. And then I'm actually going to use this purple to end this color here. Okay. So we're almost ready, fairy ready, okay? So now you want to go back and wipe away anything that may have fallen underneath. You may want to clean that up with a concealer again. And I am going to use this Juvia's Place concealer that I have. This is in the shade number 11. I'm just gonna put a little bit of this here, and I'm gonna go back in with my beauty blender and blend that out a little bit more, just to kind of clean up the colors that may have fallen out. Normally I would do my eyeshadow before I do my foundation and my concealer. I probably should have done that this time, but it's okay. You can always use concealer to clean it up. Right, so here we are. And of course you want to use a setting powder to set those concealers. Anytime you use a cream makeup, you want to set it so that it stays into place and doesn't crease up on you. So I'm going to go ahead and do that really quick. Right. So now we are going to use our highlighter to kind of bring this look together. I'm using the Aurora palette from Anastasia, and I'm going to be using between the Orion color and the Helia color. It's like a blue and a green. So I'm going to start out with the blue. I'm using a blush brush. Now if you do want to pop out a little bit more and it's not popping as much as you'd like, you can use a setting spray to spray your face first. You don't want it dripping wet, but just a little bit wet so that the colors will pop out. And you see that just coming together here. I'm just going to use that on her forehead. Bringing it down the nose, just in the middle here, over the lip, and on the chin area. Ooh, looks to be a bit much here, huh? Okay, so now if you feel like I feel right now, it's a little bit much, So I'm going to go back in with a brush, my foundation brush, and I'm going to blend it out just a little bit more. Now you can go in, depending on the look you're going for, the fairy look, you can go in with any of the colors that you've used on your eyes, the darker colors, and just kind of shadow it out a little. And I'll definitely post pictures just in case my light isn't giving you the full look, so you can see exactly what I'm creating here. So I'm using the blue, and I'm just contouring just a little on the nose. And I'm actually going to go in with my blush color and give myself a little bit of rose in my cheeks. And you can use any blush, doesn't have to be anything extravagant. And you give you a secret, you do not have to use blush at all. If you have a red color or a rose color or a peach color in your eyeshadow palette, you can use that as well. So definitely don't feel pressured to go out and buy all these items if you don't have them. Our lashes that will bring our look together. We are going to do lashes, and you can use colorful lashes. You can use any lash you'd like. If you have lashes that match these the eyeshadow colors that we used, feel free to use those. I mean, you are going for a fairy look, so make it as magical as you'd like it to look. I am going to be using just my regular lashes. And I got these from the beauty supply store, so they're very inexpensive. These lashes were $1.50, and I got them from the beauty supply store, and the name is Cherry Blossom. Most beauty supply stores have these, so you can just check out your local beauty supply store. These are the 3D silk lashes and the number 903. So I'm just going to use my lash glue. I'm using the INV eyelash glue. I'm using the white one that dries up clear. They also have a black one, so it's up to you for preference, but I do prefer the clear. This is the glue that I'm using. Hold on, let me close it. This is the glue that I'm using. You can see it in the pack. In the store, so you can make sure that you're getting the right one. This does wash out fairly easily, so when you're ready to take it off, you can pretty much just take them off. If you're having a hard time getting them off, then you can use soap and water, or if you want to just use a Q-tip with some oil, you know, baby oil or olive oil or something like that, or even coconut oil, you can just wipe it on there and it'll start to come off. I'm blowing on this because it makes it go faster. So you'll see that the glue is kind of whitish. You want to kind of wait for it to start to dry up a little bit before you stick it to your eye. That way you don't have that to worry about it sliding all over the place. And so I sit it down in the middle, and then I sit down the end, and finally the middle. I'm sorry, the inner corner. And if you have problems getting it on, I definitely recommend using tweezers. I've gotten a little bit better with just using my hands, so forgive me. Okay, just want to make sure that's setting in place. Moving on to the next lash. Oh, this middle. Okay, we're good here. I almost feel like I should have had bottom lashes too, but I'm just going to use mascara and let the mascara do its work. See, our fairy is coming to life right now. Yes, yes. Little lipstick. We're going to do our head crown and we will be fantabulous. Okay, so this lash should be ready. Again, we're going to sit it down in the middle. Set down the end. And finally, we're going to go into our inner corner. Oh, this inner corner is always trying to be mean to me. Come on. Alright, so our look is coming together, ladies. We are getting it. Yes. Alright, so now I am going to move on to my lipstick to finish off this look. Actually, no. Let's back up. Didn't do our mascara. What is a girl to do? So this mascara, if I can find it, I got this mascara from Sephora. I do like this because it does lengthen the lash pretty good. I don't really have any issues with this one. Let's see if I can get the bottom lash to participate in this look today. Okay. I don't really have long bottom lashes. This does help to bring them out just a little bit. So, bottom lashes probably would have made this come out, but bottom lashes are a little bit harder to find these days. So I'm just gonna play around with this on the bottom lash. And I did learn a trick. I don't have my tweezers with me right now, but if you put the mascara in between the tweezers and just go grab the, like lightly tap the hairs on the bottom, like one by one or a few at a time, you can actually get the mascara on there without feeling like you're gonna poke yourself in the eye. You can just kind of clamp the tweezers on the bottom hairs and the mascara will magically appear. And so I'm just going to, I'm not putting this on the lash itself. I'm just putting mascara on my lash. Oh, come on, this doesn't want to stick today. Okay, so I'll show you. I'm lifting up and I'm just putting mascara on my natural lash just to kind of blend in this lash with my lash. And it's because I'm using gold liner. Ordinarily, if it was black, if there's a space in between my natural lash and the actual lash, you wouldn't be able to see it. But because I'm using gold, if there's a gap in between the two, you can definitely see it. Okay. So now we are going to move on to our lipstick. And I'm using a blue. You can use whatever color you have. I'm just using a color that will tie into this. Yes, yes, we are serving booty today. Yes, look at that blue. Okay. So I do know that you can buy these different lipstick colors out of the beauty supply store. So again, just have yourself a field day in the beauty supply store. You can get most of these products that I'm using today in the beauty supply store. You don't have to go spend extravagant amounts of money. You can keep it as simple as you want. And so I am going to finish off my look, I'm going to do my headgear. I got this out of the beauty supply store. It's just my little leaves. Now, we know mom and dad, mom probably has a plant somewhere, one of those artificial plants. If you don't have to tear up her stuff, you can use one of these. This I use as a part of my table decor for the holidays. I don't need it right now. So what we can do is just take this, just kind of stick it like between your hair and your ear. Kind of get it back there so that the ear will hold it. Have to kind of adjust this because of the head wrap. Actually, I want this under it. So we're going to kind of tilt our headgear here and have our flower here. Oops, I don't have this in my hair at all. Oh, come on. Normally these things are smaller, but this one is a bit larger. Okay, there we go. So I got it in between the hair and the ear. And we have our headgear on. I mean, you can choose to dress it up with a different color wig. If you have a blue wig, you can do so many things with this look. You can definitely dress this up. Yes, yes.